We continue to hear almost daily how new technologies are impacting advertising and marketing. So for fun, we asked our experts what technological developments of the future they would include in a sci-fi movie.
The science fiction part of it is, maybe the little chips in your body when you're born that will be able to tell advertisers exactly where you are and what you're doing, and are you hungry, are you not hungry, do you need to buy a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi at that moment in time, and when you do, it will bombard you with those messages to make sure you go get those products. A little scary sometimes, a little big brother-ish, but I think something like that will happen in 10, 15 years.
Advertising was being able to be specifically targeted to a unique person when they walked into a store, or a unique newspaper that was targeted for them and updated simultaneously. I see kind of that reality, or that view of what reality becoming more and more into what we'll see in our daily lives. We'll see further choices, further segmentation, but more tailored to what you specifically want.
It's funny, you watch some of the science fiction movies from 20, 30 years ago, and it seems that when you come home from work, you walk into your living room and there's a wall of TV screens, right? There's 8 different screens and everything's got a different show on. I think that has it completely wrong. I think everything's going to get smaller, and this isn't an original idea by any means, but I think a lot of people see handheld devices as being, everything is going to be controlled through your handheld. You're going to be able to turn on the lights in your bedroom from the living room, with your handheld.
In the future, I believe we'll be able to put a picture up inside your eyelids so that you're really taking it inside the brain and transforming your thoughts, your images, your senses into this other world where these products will come before you and you will be able to actually experience them. When we reach that point, of course, the question is, why do you want the product? If you're able to experience it just virtually, and we'll face that when we come to it.
Not surprisingly, a lot of people mentioned a movie that already predicted many of these developments.
The movie's already been made. It starred Tom Cruise, and it's called The Minority Report. If you watch that movie, you'll see mind-bending forecasted future capabilities in terms of retinal recognition of customers as they walk into stores, and billboards that customize the message to the client based on known behavior or prior purchases by that client. It's already out there. Watch the movie and be prepared, because it's coming.
Today, we see more ads in 1 year than people of 50 years ago saw in a lifetime. With all this media fragmentation and message bombardment, we wondered if consumers would start to revolt. According to many of our panelists, maybe we don't have as much to worry about as we might think.
I do believe that things will continue to fragment, which will really just force products, whether again it's radio or television or print, the internet. Everything's going to just become more and more focused to the individual.
I think yes, media will continue to fragment. If you look at what's happened over the last 10 years, there's been a big fragmentation and people are consuming media in different ways than they ever have before.
I think media will definitely continue to fragment as new media forms and technologies come along.
As much fragmentation as there has been, I think it's really just its beginning.
I think the sheer bombardment of media from the day you wake up till the time you go to bed is there may well be some revolt.
Message bombardment, just think about it. It just sounds wrong. I mean, again, that phrase, brings to mind the old model of, I have a brand, I have some things I want to tell you about the brand, I'm going to send you messages until I persuade you to come buy my brand. And that whole sense of bombardment is like, sounds awful. Yes, they will revolt against that.
But then Twitter comes along, and who really thought that people would sign up to have time to read 150 posts by the same person all day about, yes, now I'm on the toilet. They're choosing for message bombardment. So I don't think there's going to be a revolt against it, but it's going to be them asking for what they want to hear about.
I think there might be a time where you can actually choose when, where, and how you will be exposed to a message. And you'll probably be given some kind of a reward for that. Otherwise, there's really nothing in it for the consumer other than to just be bombarded by messages.
I've been waiting for the revolt of the fragmented media universe for an awful long time, and I sense no blowback at the present time. We all live in this fragmenting media world. Ultimately, what won't change will be the story. We like to be told stories. We are the stories that we are told, a beginning and a middle and an end. It'll just be in different forms.
So maybe consumers won't revolt, as long as they're getting the messages they want, told in the ways they want, especially messages from other consumers. Many of our panelists have mentioned social media as an important factor in the future. We wondered, is social media a fad or is it here to stay? And if it is, what will this mean for brands?
Will social media continue to grow? Absolutely. It's still very much early days. And as it continues to permeate our lives, increasingly people who do branding are going to have less and less control over their brands than they even do today. Branding is really going to be created and generated by more and more by consumers.
It certainly is. I mean, brands need to expect when they talk to people, they're going to get people talking back to them. That's part of the messaging that we manage so carefully now. Is it's going to be a little bit managed not just by us, but by our target audiences as well.
What it means for brands and what it potentially is scary for marketers and advertisers is, once again, you are ceding control. You aren't going to be able to have top-down messages anymore. It's going to be a situation in which you're going to have to be much more transparent. You're going to have to be willing to allow consumers to touch and feel your message and interact with you more so than they have done in the past and even today. So it's a little scary for marketers because that amount of control isn't going to be what it was 10 years ago.
It's very important for companies to realize what social media is. It's not a broadcast television program. You can't, there's people, you can tell when you're reading a comment thread or if you're on a Facebook page or whatever, who the marketing person was who put up their little post about, hey, try our new brand of rum or whatever. It just, it reeks of shill work, and people don't want that.
So what that means to brands like ours is you really now have to stay even more true to the brand. Somebody's going to sniff you out in a heartbeat if you're not living up to the brand, and they'll broadcast it loudly.
Well, we're only halfway through our look into the future, and our experts have already given us a lot to think about. The explosion of social media is going to require new thinking in the way brands get their messages to resonate. Rapidly changing demographics and technology will lead to greater segmentation of marketing messages. And new technology will also mean more pressure on agencies to bring in tech-savvy people who can help demonstrate results to their clients. And finally, greater message bombardment will make it even more important to craft the right message and deliver it in ways that will talk with and not at consumers. We hope you'll join us for 10 Years Ahead Part 2, when we'll answer the biggest question of them all.
What does a traditional advertising agency need to do to prepare for 2019?
I would try to find as many of the brightest, most creative people I could find.
I'd be trying to figure out how I could evolve.
Embrace and understand
social media, analytics,
word of mouth,
idea culture,
big ideas.
The way that I would prepare for 2019 is I would just go ahead and file for bankruptcy right now. Just kidding.
So whether you think you're headed for bankruptcy or a boom, we'd love to get your thoughts too. When 10 Years Ahead concludes, we'll give you a chance to post your predictions and thoughts at our 10 Years Ahead website. We'll ask you 5 questions about the future of advertising, and then we're going to tabulate the results and share them with everyone who participated. So stay tuned for 10 Years Ahead Part 2, coming soon. Way too soon.